How we doing, chaps? This is a response to Novabug. He's got a thing he calls the Friday Foursome. I'm actually reading it at the moment. The Friday Foursome, where he asks the community like 4 of whatever the topic might actually be, and then he kind of asks for VRs. So this week he's asking, what is 4 of the most irritating aspects of gaming? Excuse me. 4 of the most irritating aspects of gaming. Oh, I could probably rhyme off about a dozen, but anyway. Now I need to apologise first. I have not actually watched anybody's responses yet, because I think if you do that, then somebody else may take what you're going to talk about, and it can also influence what you're going to say. So I thought I'll just shoot straight off the bat, do my own video response first, and then I can watch other people's. So if I'm actually repeating anybody else's, I apologise now, but it's honestly, I've not copied you because I've not watched any videos so far. So 4 of the most irritating aspects of gaming. Probably the one that's the most obvious to a lot of people is I'm actually going to make this, there's actually 2 I'm going to turn into 1. It's gaming on modern systems. Now, if you were lucky enough to own a PS3, you'll probably know that if you decide you're going to have a game of something that you've maybe not played for a while, you switch it on and then you get hit with 26 updates before you can play the game. Now, the PS3, for whatever reason, the Wi-Fi connection wasn't the greatest. It was extremely slow. So yeah, you had to wait on the thing updating, 26 updates, and it wouldn't even... The thing that used to annoy me is it would rather than update, you know, rather than have an update which was then superseded with another update, so that all you had to do was download the latest update. You had to download every flipping update that had ever been released. So if you'd never played the game for a long time, like I said, you could be faced with 26 updates. Each one could be a gig in size. Whereas if it was using the sort of like the PC update sort of strategy, you would download the latest update, and usually that would be everything. So yeah, what invariably was going to start off as I'll have a quick go of this before we go into Glasgow or we have to leave the house, whatever, would invariably turn into half an hour or longer waiting on the damn thing updating, and you end up not getting to play the game at all. Now, I don't know, they have kind of fixed that slightly with the PS3. Now, the 360 used to manage it flawlessly. You know, the same with the PS3 though, you would switch it on and it would tell you there's an update available, but invariably with the 360 it would download really quick. And the same with the system update on the PS4, you would have to, rather than download a patch, for what I can gather, it would make you download the whole bloody operating system again, which was utter nonsense. Now sometimes these updates could run to gigs and over a really shitty Wi-Fi. I mean, I've got fibre optic here in the house, but even using the PS3, it's just shite. It's so slow. In fact, even using connecting it directly into my router via a network cable, it's still shite. So yeah, bloody updates for current systems is just nonsense. Hopefully they've kind of nailed it. Well, they've improved it. I mean, the PS3 was definitely the worst, to the point that it actually made me stop playing the game, you know, or playing the console. You'd switch it on, you wanted a quick game or something, and you'd have to download all these updates, which would take hours and hours and hours and hours. So yep, that is my first one. I'm going to kind of cheat a little and tag this on as part of this one as well. Digital downloads. Yeah, if you're buying a game, I mean, like, if you've got a current console now, you'll see that you can buy any game now online. Now, the first thing is, a lot of these games, they run to 20, 30 gig in size, are bloody huge. It'll take hours and hours and hours and hours. So you've got to obviously use your own broadband to download it, which will take forever. Secondly, in many cases, the digital download is actually more expensive than if you went into a shop and bought the disc. Now, how that works, I have got absolutely no idea. Surely to God, the fact that you're downloading something, you're not actually physically getting a disc or a manual or whatever it is, you're not getting a box or anything, surely it should be cheaper, not more expensive. But that's not how it seems to work. It seems that digital downloads seem to be more expensive, whether or not because companies can, I don't know, they can buy in bulk and so they can offer games cheaper, I don't know. But until all these companies get together and realise that digital downloads, if they want people to embrace digital downloads, then they need to put them out at a decent, price. To put it out more expensive than an actual box or a disc is just absolutely crazy. And until that changes, people like myself will simply never ever buy a digital download game. Saying that, I do download the small games, the couple of gigs, whatever, but I would never ever buy a game, a full price game, or a full commercial release game, because I'm not wasting my broadband and I'm not paying more money when I'm having to bloody get the thing as well. And the third kind of bit of this annoyance is the fact that what happens when you come to sell your console? You decide one day you no longer want the PS4, you go to sell it. Can you sell it with the games in it? I don't know, probably not, because it'll be linked to your account. So technically you could have a system that you've maybe bought 10 games, but because they're all linked to your system, you can't actually sell them on. And then conversely, what would happen if in years to come, I'm saying years, we're probably talking maybe 3-4 years, when they pull the plug on the servers that service the Xbox and the PS4, does that mean that technically my games are no longer available? What happens if the PS4 I've got breaks? Does that mean that I've lost all my games? Probably. So yeah, I'm kind of moaning about something that I don't have to do. I don't have to buy digital download games, but yeah, it is something that's a wee bit concerning. Obviously guys like myself, anyone that's watching this YouTube channel, they like to play old systems. Now it's got me thinking, will there be a sort of second-hand market 20 years from now? Will people be playing the PS4 because possibly the games will not exist unless you've actually got them in disc? So yeah, anyway, that was kind of a 3-for-1. So that was a wee bit cheeky. Other things that annoy me about games. I don't like the way the gaming things kind of moving. It seems to be very much going towards online games. You must play co-op mode and that kind of stuff. Excuse me. I'm very much old school. I still enjoy playing one-player games. I don't really play any online games. I have played online games and they're tremendous fun, but I don't like the fact that some games now are coming out co-op only. They're not actually putting in a one-player game. Now I know there's not many at the moment, but I think that as things continue to move online, I think that'll be something that will become more kind of commonplace. They're doing away with this sort of one-player game. In fact, there's not one game that I'm thinking in particular. What was that one? Plants v Zombies Garden Warfare. Is that not an online game only? I think it is. Which is a bit annoying because unless you've got the internet, which to be fair most people will have, you can't play the game. You need internet connection to actually play the game. And as I say, most people do have it, and it's not, I've got the internet, I can certainly play these games online, but I still like to be able to play games as and when I choose. I don't want to have to rely on people being online to play against. And especially if you're like me, you don't play that many games. If you do go online to play one of these games, 9 times out of 10 you're playing against some Japanese people who are absolutely shit hot and they absolutely kick your arse big style. So yeah, that's going to be my number 2, making games only online. I want to be able to play single player games as well. Okay, number 2, apologies about number 1, that was definitely cheeky, trying to get sort of 4-for-1. Number 2, let me think. it's not so much I find irritating, but it's something that saddens me. It saddens me slightly. I miss the packaging that you used to get with games back in the day. You know, I mean, I pirated plenty of games like most people, but you couldn't beat the sort of euphoria, the enjoyment you got when you picked up your game out of John Menzies, and you got home and you opened the box and you would read the instructions, and you know, you couldn't wait to actually try the game, and you know, just to see how good it was. I mean, the games that were probably best for that were like the sort of console games. When you bought yourself a Mega Drive game or a SNES game, it always came with an excellent instruction manual, and that was always a massive part of the game, reading instructions, you know, and you would look at features of the game, and you couldn't wait to get stuck into it to actually kind of sort of discover the game for yourself. Nowadays, what do you get? You get a DVD box, you get a small instruction manual, you know, which is usually pretty basic. I mean, I've actually had some games in the past where there's not even any instructions at all. And then if you go back to my original gripe, digital downloads, there are simply no instructions. So yeah, I definitely do miss the good old days with a nice thick instruction manual with maybe a map or whatever it was. That was always a massive part of the game. That was a massive part of the excitement of getting a brand new game. So yeah, let's bring back bollocks to digital downloads. Bring back good old fashioned cardboard boxes with nice thick manuals in it. And all other accessories that you used to sometimes get with other games. So yep, that is number 2. Okay, then number 3 is just a personal thing. Well, all these are personal ones, and this probably doesn't bother a lot of people, but it's the old FIFA syndrome. You know, every year without fail, they bring out a new version of the game, and you know, it's basically a slight update on the game. Now, I suppose you could argue and say, well, what is the problem? Because what they're really doing is they're bringing out a game which people buy, and then they're improving it, so they put it back out for people to buy, and then they just keep improving it all the time. But I can imagine if I was into FIFA, and you know, that's definitely the most kind of guilty game franchise that there is, you know, putting out updates every single year. I mean, I don't know when did FIFA first come out in 1995? Something is niggling me, it was 1995, there or thereabouts. It came out in the Mega Drive, and I think they've put out a FIFA every single year since then. Now, if you've actually bought them all, which I'm sure there are some people that have probably done that, it's a shitload of money you've actually spent on all these games for, you know, what is tiny wee updates. Now, I know nobody's actually making you go out there and buy it. It's entirely up to yourself if you buy it. But yeah, it just seems to me that I don't know. Could they not put out some of these? I mean, some of the changes is very, very slight. Now, maybe I'm not really best placed to actually comment on these because I've not played FIFA for a long, long time. But yeah, from what I can gather, a lot of the differences are very slight. For somebody like myself, if I was to put in FIFA 2014 and have one game and then put in FIFA 2015, I would guarantee I probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I'd guarantee probably most people who don't play FIFA wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So could they not put these slight wee updates out as kind of patches for free? But no, I think what obviously EA do, they put a game out full price, and then they start working on updates, which will then become next year's FIFA. So that's a wee bit cheeky as far as I'm concerned. But you know what, they don't physically make you go out and pay for it. You don't have to buy it if you don't want to. But I do think that some of the improvements they put in games like FIFA, they could probably put out as patches, but they don't do that. They obviously put it out to try and line their own pockets. So yeah, that's grumpy old man gratuitous moan number 3. Right, number 4 is second-hand games in game shops. It's not the first time that I have gone to game to buy a game, and I look at it brand new, and it's, I don't know, $49.99. So I think, tell you what, I'll see if there's a second hand game. So I go and look in the sort of pre-owned pile, and sure enough, there's the game second hand, and it is like $46.99. It's like £2 of difference. Now, I've taken back a lot of games in the past, and I know how quickly these games depreciate in value. You know, you do get back very, very, very little on these games when you take back games. So how can game shops then punt out second-hand games for just a couple of quid less than the full price? You know, seriously, I mean, they shouldn't even be. But if they're putting out games pre-owned just for a couple of quid less, they should probably just remove them from sale, because to me that is absolutely taking the piss. Again, nobody actually makes you buy it. You know, there's nobody holding your hand and saying you will buy this second-hand game. But I just do think that the game companies are taking the piss. I mean, there's always been a kind of big debate, a big talk about second-hand games in general. What people have said is, when a company first releases a game, obviously it will make X amount of money. You know, game will they'll get their cut of the profits. The company, the publisher, will get obviously money. Game will pre-order 1,000 copies, so the publisher will make money. But once that game is sold to like an individual who then sells it back to Game are then making all the profit. You know, so they're not having to pay any. They're not having to pay. I mean, presumably when Game buy a copy of a game, they'll buy in, you know, bulk. They'll be paying obviously money to the publisher. They'll be paying a premium to get all these copies. But when they get a game from like Joe Blogs like myself, they'll get that game far cheaper than they would if they were buying them from the publisher to begin with. So why are they putting these second-hand games out at almost full price? That annoys me, and that is the reason why I simply don't go into places like Game anymore. I buy all my games online, or else I go to CEX and buy games. You can get them for pennies. It's a shame, because, you know, I used to buy a lot of games pre-owned, but now it's simply not worth it. You know, I would rather pay that extra couple of quid and get the game brand new. You know, so yeah, that is it. Apologies for it running on, but yep, as usual, guys, thank you very much for watching.
Thanks for watching my Mamemeister channel. Please feel free to like, comment or subscribe. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter.